What's up, YouTube? Knight's Edge here again. Got a pretty cool little knife overview for you today, review of sorts. Don't know, is this an overview or review? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm going over the whole thing, so the overview part will be like the specs and the weight and all that stuff like that. The review, I guess, would be my opinion of it. I don't know. That's my understanding of YouTuber kniferism. Maybe I've been getting it wrong this whole time. It's very possible. This is the Vosteed Corgi, and this one is going to be the channel members giveaway for the month of June. Haven't done a review on it yet, so I figured I would do so. Pretty neat little knife. So from the tip of the blade to the end of the handle, the Corgi is running at maybe a hair over 7 inches. I'd call it 7 1/8 right there. Overall blade length 3 inches if you go all the way back to where the blade meets up with the handle scales there. And you are looking at about 2 7/8 on that sharpened edge length on that drop point. I guess we could call it a drop point. All right, calibers on, zeroed out, thickest part of the spine, the blade stock thickness, you're sitting at 118 thousandths, thickest part of the spine. And behind the edge, let's see here, you're looking at a cool 18 thousandths. Handle thickness, 478 thousandths. All right, so not too bad on the stats on that one. Let's go ahead, do what we normally do some size comparisons. We got some standards in the house, of course, your Spyderco Paramilitary 2 and your Spyderco Para 3 right there. Of course, it's much smaller than the Paramilitary 2, and it is smaller overall length than the Para 3, but if you look at the cutting edge, still a little bit more cutting edge than the Para 3. Para 3, of course, got that really generous forward finger choil going on right there. All right, and do a couple more. Here's some Vosteeds. Almost tried to front flip that one. Actually did. That is the Vosteed RS Chaos, a premium Vosteed. And here is a budget Vosteed, another budget Vosteed. This is the Acorn. All right, so there it is next to the Acorn and the RS Chaos. Much different. All three pretty different from each other as far as the knife profiles go on that. This is more like a slim, symmetrical, gentlemanly-ish looking folder, I guess you could say. Here is the DeWalt framing hammer that I got out of the pit. Zoomed in too much again. DeWalt framing hammer and your USA made 8-inch crescent wrench right there. All right. Whoop. Nudge it to the side there. Let's get a roll of Scotch tape. All right. Now, let's see what we got next. The weight on this bad boy feels pretty light to me in hand. Let's see. Let me guess 3.5, maybe. 3.5 on the dot. Awesome. 3.6 there. So 3.5, 3.6 ounces on the weight on the Corgi. Over the ounce and inch ratio, as some may say. But almost tried to front flip it or flip it from the wrong side there. That's one thing you got to watch out for on this one. Not a big deal, but it will fool you. Looking on the inside, you do have some milling for weight reduction on those steel liners on the inside of it. Really nice micarta on the handle. I like their micarta they use, especially the green micarta. I think it's pretty good looking aesthetically. Let's see. Let's get out the blue jeans if I can find them. All right. Had to find the blue jeans, man. They were on the floor. I dropped my jeans. Sorry about that, guys and gals. You guys did not need to see that. All right, there it is. Deep carry pocket clip. Pretty good pocket clip. Don't mind anything at all about the Vosteed pocket clips, come to think of it, except for one thing. And I'll show you that again. I showed it on the review for the Acorn, maybe not. So if you take a look at this, one thing that I don't like that they do, this is satin, right? Shiny, satin. That is kind of like a stone wash, maybe like a stone wash, even tumbled finish, almost matches that, right? This is a shiny satin, right? Why? What's going on there? Like what? That's one thing that aggravates the heck out of me with that anyway. I mean, you can of course swap the pocket clips. They are seem like they're pretty much the same. I'm trying to get that off of there. Got a little bit of pocket lint on there. Looks like they're the same screw pattern on those two, but that's one thing that I don't understand why they did that. Doesn't match at all. So anyway, my little rant about that over with. Let's get out of T8 here. I'm thinking T8 on the pivot, single-sided captive pivot with a pretty neat little kind of a hex looking pivot screw on there on that side. That's pretty cool. Nice little touch there. All right, that is a T8 on there. Body screw T8, and can they hit a home run? Can they hit a home run? No. Oh man. All right, let's get out the T6. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, T6. So that's T6 on your clip screw. It is mountable, however. Not as big of a deal if it's a T6 on the pocket clip screw, but would be cool if it was T8 all the way around. I do like that single-sided captive pivot. You can take the clip off here, take this tab out, put the clip here, and put the tab here, and voila, you've got a lefty carry. So that's pretty cool. Now I do have to keep looking at this before I flip it. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but it does. You know, it's symmetrical, right? With these two areas right here. That's your front flipper and that's your regular flipper, right? So that you can use that as a regular flipper. Your front flipper right there works just fine, no issues at all. There is kind of soft on the D10, if you could call it that. It is a Trek lock. They call it a Trek lock. It's pretty much like a plunge lock that goes through a different part of the blade, right? So that button, you can pretty much treat it like a gravity knife. So that's one thing you got to watch out for there, I guess, right? Although I don't think it meets the definition of a gravity knife because you do have the flipper tabs to actuate it. So that's, yeah, I'm not sure on that. Definitely check your local knife laws and stuff like that before purchasing that. A few little interesting touches here. Positives, highlights, I guess you could say. I like the little pattern that they did right there. If you check out the lock, the button on the button lock, pretty neat little pattern there. Everything from the contrasting colors from the brass to the green on the micarta, all the way to that little kind of diamond texturing or whatever they put on that button on the button lock, the hex head on the pivot screw. Nice green backspacer here. It is kind of like a plastic G10, I guess, backspacer. The liners aren't fully nested, but they don't stick out, right? So it is pretty symmetrical. The micarta, a little contouring going on there, so it's not like a straight square. That's pretty cool. I do appreciate that greatly. But yeah, this one's got some pretty neat little touches. Everything from the micarta to the Trek lock. If I had to highlight some positives, it would be aesthetically for sure. Ergonomically, not too bad, right? It just feels like a straight up what it looks like, right? There's no curves, anything like that. No finger curves, but it is straight symmetrical. So that is one thing there. The spine, I can get the spine here, get the camera to focus right. Is not quite crowned, but it's not sharp at all. So that feels pretty nice. Nice little swedge up top, if you notice, kind of towards the top part of it. Not a whole lot of billboard, and they've got Vosteed on this side, 14C 28N on that side. 14C 28N, pretty cool steel, especially at that price point. These run around $59.99, I believe, for this variant, and they do have a Vancor lock version of this one, the Vosteed V2. I think that's out now. So pretty cool. Nice little solid gentleman's knife. If I had to change some things, maybe the T6 would change on the pocket clip screws. The fact that it does do a little bit of bounce back when you close it. Well, can't really get it to do it now that I'm trying. Oh, there it goes. So that, kind of leads me to believe it has a little bit of a weak detent, but I can shake it pretty hard and it won't come open. So not too weak of a detent. Just wish it was a little bit tighter as far as the flicking goes, I guess. But that's probably, it could be a personal preference as well. No blade play at all, left, down, upper, right. And the centering on it is symmetrical as well. Pretty good. So all in all, I think it's a pretty solid budget gentleman's knife, if you could call it that, I guess. We'll definitely open some boxes. We'll definitely open some packages. Maybe even do a little bit of piercing, with that kind of a pointy drop point. Not extremely pointy, but it is there. So yeah, that is the Vosteed Corgi, and I appreciate you guys and gals watching. If you are a channel member, just remember you can be eligible to win this whenever I do post that giveaway. And that will be this upcoming Saturday. If you're not watching this too far in the future, anyway, today is June the 17th of 25. So yeah, pretty neat little knife. I've always been kind of curious about this one, so I was happy to be able to get it and use it as a members giveaway. Just another way of showing appreciation to channel members. Really appreciate you guys. And again, I do live streams 9:30 a.m. Saturday morning. If you're interested, definitely welcome everybody in. Hit the like button. It's right down there. I mean, you're still watching, right? Come on, this is like a good bit into the video, y'all. I really appreciate it if you hit the like button. Still here, so I really appreciate that too. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all stay sharp.